Stand by for a special report on the primary election that was held today, and also some information about Central Dauphin School District and Lower Paxton Township. Just getting things set up here. One of the disadvantages of not having a director, you're going to do all this stuff yourself. So just take me a few seconds here. Make sure you can hear me. There we go. Okay, this is Bill Bostic with Lower Paxton. What am I saying? Lingelstown Gazette. Lingelstown Gazette with a special election night report. Probably the only news agency going to be covering the Central Dauphin School Board race in any detail. So we'll get down to it here. And also I have some information about last night's school board meeting and tomorrow night's Lower Paxton Township meeting. So you're all up to speed on all things local here. Just before we get into the results for the Central Dauphin School Board race, basically the thing you got to understand is over the last year or so, there's been two sides sort of develop on the school board on many issues. You have a side with 5 of the 9 votes. I think it's fair to say that this side's led by school board president Ford Thompson has these 5 votes, and then on the other side you have 4 school board members on some issues line up with the most vocal proponents being Eric Epstein and Rich Mazzatesta. So you have these 2 camps. And in this primary election, these 2 camps went at it with a potential change of power because 5 of the 9 school board seats are up for election this time around. So if the numbers mixed around here, you could have new leaders. Well, tonight's going to shed some light on just exactly how that's going to fall out. We're going to start in Region 1. There's 3 voting regions in Central Dauphin School District. In Region 1, this is in the Swatara Township, Lawton, Bressler, Enhot, Rutherford, that end of the school district. On the Republican side, it appears that incumbent Billy Roberts, who was appointed to the board a few years ago when there's an opening, is going to win that race over Beth Sweven. With actually, it's final at this point. With all precincts reporting, Billy Roberts is your top vote getter with 677 on the Republican side. Beth Sweven 566, and in third place Charles Harvey with 381. So Billy Roberts is your nominee on the Republican side in Region 1. Now on the Democratic side, Beth Sweven, who is a registered Democrat, handily won over Billy Roberts, 669 votes to 417 votes. So in Region 1, you have an incumbent that typically votes for things that Ford Thompson votes for. Billy Roberts wins the Republican side. On the Democratic side, Beth Sweven wins. She was supported in part, got some monies from the campaign committee that Eric Epstein had when he ran for state house, had some extra money and invested some money with Beth Sweven. So you're going to have a contest in the fall between those 2 candidates. And then the big contest where it was a really nasty race had developed in Region 2 of the school district. This is Dauphin Borough, Middle Paxton Township, the western border of western sections of Lower Paxton Township at Colonial Park, and then the southern portion of our township, Lower Paxton Township, is Region 2. And it looks like Lauren Silvers and Ryan Gunder have swept both primaries, both the Republican and Democratic primaries, over Richard Mazzatesta and Ted Giovannis. They pretty much doubled up, doubled up things on the Republican side. On the Democratic side was much closer, but still Silvers and Gunder handily won. So those two candidates, Lawrence Silvers, Ryan Gunder, are in position to win in the fall. The only way they wouldn't win is someone mounts a write-in candidacy. And in this situation, Lawrence Silvers and Ryan Gunder got significant support from a group called Dauphin County Leadership PAC, Political Action Committee, which, based on paperwork filed with the Dauphin County government, is operated by the Dauphin County Republican Committee. All the monies came from the Dauphin County Republican Committee, and so that's who they were backed by. Richard Mazzatesta, Ted Giovannis, again, were backed by Eric Epstein in part for their. I do know that Richard Mazzatesta got a lot of community support too, but just not enough to take tonight's contest. So that's what's happening in Region 2. Region 3, your two candidates, Ford Thompson running for re-election, Linda Delago, who formerly was a school board member, dropped out of the school board when she physically moved her home, and now she's in Region 3. Region 3 is a good chunk of Lower Paxton Township and West Hanover Township, including Linglestown, where I'm at. So there was no contest there. However, I think there was a few. Let me just count them up here. At least on the Republican side, there were 7 write-in votes. There was about 4,000 votes cast in Region 3. So that's where we're at. Let me just see if there's anyone who has any comments here. Looks like no questions, but so that's what's happening in the school board race. Now, a couple of updates on the school board meeting held Monday night. In my opinion, two significant things happened. One was the school district's looking at adding a third bus contractor. Right now they have Durham School Services does quite a few of the routes and has been in place for a number of years, and a second one that does some smaller routes, and they're looking to add a third one to try and, I guess, improve the school bus services that we get in the district. I guess there were some, based on what I've been told, and I have to do some more reporting on this, but Durham School Services, the primary bus contractor, I guess there's been times when they have had a hard time filling some of the school bus driving positions. So they're looking at working with a third one. I'll be reporting on that as I get more information. The other thing that happened on Monday night was a little bit of a surprise. At the end of the meeting, let's see, the school board solicitor, Jeffrey Engel, came out with information as a follow-up to some reporting that had been done and some things that were a big issue on the school board about summer employment hours. I think it was in 2016 and 2017, there was allegations, and I believe everyone pretty much agrees that there were some hourly employees that were paid for hours not worked whenever the school district compressed their schedule to save some money on energy. Instead of working 5 8-hour days, employees were working, I guess, 4 10-hour days, but some of the hourly employees only worked 36 hours, but were paid 40. So if that makes any sense, some employees were paid for not working, and that became a contentious issue on the board. And ultimately, the administration agreed to send this to the Dauphin County District Attorney. Information was also sent to the State Auditor General's office and to the State Attorney General's office. Well, the school board solicitor Jeff Engel came out and said that the Dauphin County District Attorney Fran Chardo had determined that there was no criminal charges here and that the matter was essentially dropped in terms of any kind of criminal investigation. And he was hoping that I would report that, because I reported this issue in the there's 2 articles that showed up late last year in the Patriot News, and so this is just a preliminary report. I'm going to have to tie down a few details and file a report on that. So that's what happened there. And then on the township side, tomorrow night the township supervisors, Lower Paxton Township supervisors, will be meeting. The primary thing on the agenda is an ordinance to regulate consumer fireworks and the use of them. And I expect this to be passed, and it'll empower the police to take action if necessary if consumer fireworks are being used inappropriately. For example, in the proposed ordinance, consumer fireworks cannot be shot off within 100 feet of an occupied structure. It also sets out the time, for example, consumer fireworks after 10 p.m. prevailing time or before 7 a.m. That you're not allowed to do that, with some exceptions for a few holidays. So they're going to be outlining that so that so hopefully let's have to see when this goes into action. It looks like it's going to be adopted tomorrow night and be immediately effective. So right before the Memorial Day holiday. So just let's see if there's anyone have any questions here. Look, no one's filing anything on the comments. So for those of you who are checking this out, thanks for stopping by. This has been a special report from Lingostown Gazette on the primary election for the school board and a couple other items. I'll be on the air tomorrow morning with my co-host Crystal Bob. I guess we're going to be meeting at St. Thomas Roasters. We'll have our typical show. I wanted to get this out of the way so that we can have a good show, upbeat show, have some fun, and not deal with politics and things of this nature. So have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow morning.